Okay, welcome to the live Pilates class I did. I edited this one for you and I'm doing it a voiceover. So we start on our backs and just find a neutral pelvis alignment. You can bend your knees. And then we're coming into bridge. So you're going to push your feet into the mat, or maybe hip distance apart, and lift your hips up to the sky in bridge. You kind of activate your glutes, keep your rib cage down, and lift your arms. So we're lifting our arms right up to the sky. I can go anywhere with my arms, towards my feet. And then we eventually lower our arms all the way back down to the mat. And then we come into tabletop. So again, I establish that neutral position in my pelvis, engage my core, and come into tabletop. And I could do this with one leg up, or I could do this with both legs up. And again, rib cage down. Breathing in, breathing out. And I'm actually pressing into my thighs. So I call these bracers. I can press to the outside. Just imagine you're trying to bring your legs out, to abduct, and there's resistance there with your arms. I push, push, push. I breathe, I engage the core. And then I could also add any variation, right? One leg of this, two legs, and then eventually I come out of tabletop. And I drop my legs from side to side. So a reclining twist like yoga, a hip sway, or a knee drop in Pilates. And I drop the legs from side to side, trying to make this come from my center. And I breathe in, I breathe out. It's almost like you're trying to move your legs, but from your core. And I breathe. Just knitting the ribs down. Really getting heavy through the lower half of my body. And I drop from side to side. And breathe in, breathe out. And then eventually I come back center and I prepare for another tabletop. One leg, two legs, I float my legs up into tabletop. And I can bring my head up on this if I like. And I look right at those thighs, that 90 degrees going. Reach towards the end of my mat. I could support my head with one arm, both arms. Elbows in, ribs down. Breathe in, breathe out. So really just holding. Seems like we're doing nothing, but a nice static hold here. And if it's too much, I can always put my head back down. Core on, breathing in, not pushing my low back into the floor though. And I could extend for extra challenge, one leg out on a diagonal. Engaging the core, not letting my ribs pop. And I pull that leg back in, and I switch legs. Other leg out to a diagonal. And I can hold, breathe in, breathe out. Keeping that 90 degrees, tensing through my middle. It's like, come on, core, engage, engage. Ribs knitted right down. Did you feel something? You should be feeling something there. I could do that with my head down. And then I lower my legs. I take a breath in, nice breath out. I'm going to return to bridge. I lift my hips up to the sky. And I can add variation here. It could be regular bridge, or I float one leg up into tabletop. Could rest it on the other thigh. Really trying to push through the bottom foot. Maintain, right? A nice level pelvis. And flex or point my foot. Lifting those hips. And then eventually, if I'm doing single leg bridge, I switch sides. Press my entire foot into the mat. Lift into tabletop, any variation. Drive those hips up. Still keep the ribs down. And breathe in and breathe out. And think about the bottom foot. So I use this analogy in my classes. Like, imagine you're dragging your feet closer to the center of your mat without actually lifting or moving your foot, and that'll really fire up your hamstrings. And then I come out of that bridge. I lower my pelvis back to the floor. I take a big inhale. Big exhale. Then I come back to another tabletop. Single leg, or float both legs up, 90 degrees. I ab curl up. And I drop those shoulders away from my ears. Single leg out. Drop back in. Or I go with both legs out on that diagonal, really working through the core. I'm kind of drawing the inner thighs together. Now you're just going to go from tabletop to diagonal. Single leg or double leg. Just finding that edge where you feel it. It's like, ooh, feeling your abdominals kicking in, a little burning. And of course, breathing in through the nose. And then exhaling through the mouth like you're blowing up a stiff balloon. Breathe in, head up, head down. And also support your head if you need to. One arm or both arms. Diagonal to tabletop. Whatever I can get away with here. Diagonal to tabletop. Ribs down. Ribs really knitted down. And then I come out of that. I lower all the way back down. Breathe in, breathe out, and let's come into another round of bridge. So this one's staggered. So if you notice, I've got one foot, half a foot in front of the other foot. Pretty narrow with my feet. This is where I'm pushing down. Again, imagine that dragging action with my feet. Lift my pelvis up to the sky. And float those arms up. Reaching. Go anywhere with my arms. Breathing in. I could lift my heels. Bridge. Staggered with heel lift plus arms. Remember, I could always do regular bridge too if this isn't for me. And then I switch side. Other leg, a half a foot in front. Grounding those feet, lifting the pelvis up to the sky. Reaching, maybe lifting my heels up off the floor. Say, come on, glutes, back side of my body. I want to feel that through the low back, my glutes, my hamstrings. Breathe in, breathe out. Hold, 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 hold. And I lower those heels. And eventually I come out. I come all the way out of bridge, my variation of bridge. I hug my knees into the chest. Just shutting off the core there, giving the hamstrings a little breather. And the next step is single leg stretch. Head up or head down. Extending one leg out on the diagonal. This is where that knee is going to come beyond 90 though. I set my pelvis heavy into the mat. And I alternate. Exhale. Every time that leg goes out. Exhale. Breathing in. A little knee hug into the chest. I could support my head. One hand, two hands. I could keep my head down. Keep going. I could reach towards the end of my mat. What I like about this one, it really brings the shoulders down. And you can engage your core a little bit more. Reach, reach, reach. Maybe arms behind the head, overhead for an extra challenge. Anywhere you want to go with those arms. Breathing in, single leg stretch. A few more here. Exhale, exhale. And then I pause. I hold this one. I freeze. I switch sides. Freeze, freeze, freeze. And then I draw the knees to the chest. I lower all the way back down to the mat. And go back to hip sway, knee drops from side to side. And inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. And I extend those legs all the way up to the sky and coming into scissors. So it's much like single leg stretch, but your legs are straight. Draw one leg out long, and then the other leg out long. So you're alternating. Head up, head down, just kind of drawing lightly the shin in. And staying nice and heavy through that pelvis. Bracing through my middle, breathing in. I could point my toes, but I could just keep my feet also just natural, right? Nice and neutral. And breathe in, breathe out. Single leg stretch, or this one's scissors. A few more rounds. Breathe in, breathe out. You feel some warmth happening there. A little bit of warmth. I don't rock from side to side. I try not to jam my low back into the mat. And I hug my knees into the chest. I lower all the way down. And let's prepare now to move to your side. So you're going to get you to roll over to your side. So side bridge, or what we call, I often call side hover in my classes to distinguish it from plank. Elbows under shoulders, knees tucked in behind. Could be on my palms. Could have one knee down, any variation. And shoulders back, elbows pressing away, ribs in like a jaw. And I float my hips up to the sky, staying stacked. I look down, I lift one arm up, I lift the other leg that's down, I lift that up to the sky. I could reach that arm overhead. In front, anywhere I want to go. Pushing away, elbows pressing, hips up. Breathing in, breathing out. I could have both legs out long too, and a full side hover. And then I come all the way down. I draw my knees into the chest. I swing over, up and over into side bend. Open the side body to the ribs. And then I'm coming into another one. So this one, I'm going to do it on my palms. Now you don't have to. You could definitely stick with what we just did in the elbow hover. But now I'm on my palms, full side planks. One leg could be down. Stack, or what I'm doing is staggering my feet. I reach overhead. I reach, reach, reach. Same principles apply. Ribs in like a jaw. Reaching up to the sky. Breathing in, pushing away. So I can do this. I'm squeezing my inner thighs, pushing my pelvis forward. And then I come out again, hugging the knees in, reaching up long and overhead into side bend, mermaid. That should feel good after all that lateral core work. So from here, changing our orientation, all fours. Lining those knees right up underneath your hips. I call like a quadruped position, all fours. And I'm really going to push away here. We're going to do a few cat curls where you pull the ribs in, you create a C curve with your body, and then you release, you pull your chest forward, in and out. A few rounds here, but it's an active cat. Inhale, I look forward. Exhale, ribs in, pulling the shoulder blades apart, pushing away with those arms. Breathing in, breathing out. And then I'm coming into, so another one on all fours. And then we're just going to float up. I call this one cat hover. Even though we're not in cat position, so your upper back, you just call it that. So it's like half plank. Puff out my upper back, push away, ribs in again, core engage. I'm floating my knees half an inch off the floor. And then I take my break, sitting back into child's pose. Or a big shell position, breathing in, really expanding, directing the breath into the ribs. Now you could do your cat hover on your elbows, which was what I do next. I bring my elbows under my shoulders and tuck or untuck your feet. Again, everything applies. Pushing through the elbows, widening through my shoulder blades, a little puffing of the upper back. And core is definitely on. And floating those knees. Actually, the lower, the better. You'll feel it more through your core. Push, push, push. Breathe in, breathe out. A nice static hold here. Looking at that whole abdominal wall. Breathe in, breathe out. And then again, I come out and sink back to child's pose. And then from here, so coming into plank variation. So plank, as we all know, I could go on my knees, I could tuck the toes and come into full plank. Now I could do this on my elbows. And I'm trying to keep every muscle engaged. You're going against gravity. Now I could add any variation. I did a few knee tucks there. I could definitely do that. Feet wide, feet narrow. A couple knee tucks. I could float one leg up to the sky and pull it back. I could float the other leg up, 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 trying to keep everything engaged. Core, upper back puffed a little bit. I'm not dumping through my low back. I lift. I squeeze the glutes as I lift. I breathe in, breathe out. So any variation. I could go on my knees, remember, and take a break. And then eventually back into child's pose. And then we're going to slowly make our way around to the other side for our side bridge. Hover, elbows or palms. I'm going elbows under the shoulders. I do whatever I want with my legs. So bottom leg bent. Top leg out long. Lift your hips away from the floor. Ribs in. That's so important so that you use your bottom side obliques here. Reaching. Overhead. Long reach overhead or in front. Anywhere actually. And pushing away. Hips are forward. I'm squeezing my glutes too as much as I can. Breathe in, breathe out. Say, come on, ribs in. And then eventually I sit down, I draw my knees into my chest, and I reach up and over. Opening side body into the ribs, down into my pelvis. And then I'm making my way into that second version on my side. So this is side plank. I could do the same version, elbows. Ribs in like a drawer, side plank on my palms. Stacked or staggered like I'm doing. I lift my hips, stack it. Core on, inner thighs. So squeeze your inner thighs. Push your hips forward a little bit. Say, come on, glutes. Reach your arm overhead, in front, anywhere. Anywhere you want to go with that top arm. Breathe in, me against gravity. I'm going to win this. Say, come on, core, let's go. Reaching. I could lift the top leg if you really want a challenge. Inhale, head in alignment as best as you can. And then I lower all the way back down. And again, a nice side bend. Reaching up and over. Big breath in, breath out. Coming back to quadruped. All fours. I think again, hands and knees. Breathing in, a few cat curls. Pushing away, pressing evenly through both arms. Nice active cat. So now onto my elbows. So this one is that cat hover we did earlier. You could definitely revisit that. Or step all the way out long, knees or toes, into full front bridge or hover. I'm coming into the full one here. You can do this off a wall. Again, just like full plank on our palms, but this one's actually even more challenging for a lot of people. Puffing out my upper back slightly. Ribs in, core, inner thighs. Squeezing my glutes. I could do anything. Some knee taps like I did. I could lift one leg up off the floor. Any variation, holding, breathing, pushing away. Say, I can do this. I can do this. Come on, a couple more breaths in, out, full hover, and then pausing again. Reaching those arms back. This time, feels good. Reaching behind your back, child's pose. A little breath in. So let's come up now. All the way up for a moment. A full breath in, and this time we're going to make our way to one more hover. Just when you think it's over. So come on to those elbows. And I'm adding any variation. So I could shift from side to side like I'm doing, load a little right, Shift across, load a little left, just like a typewriter. Remember those? I don't see those anymore. You can go forward, back, shift forward. So it's a little seesaw. Forward, back. Gets ugly, I go to my knees. Breathe in, shift forward, shift back. Could be on my palms too. And then taking that break into our favorite pose, child's pose. Shaking out those shoulders. And breathing in, breathing out, elbows or palms. So we come all the way back out. Elbows or palms. Hover, hover. Tap one knee down. Tap the other knee down. That's nice and control while you do this. So I'm not resting it. It's just a light tap. When it becomes too challenging, what do? I just put both knees down. It gets really challenging. I take my break. We're almost there. Come on, last little bit. Hover, you against gravity. Pushing away with those elbows, core on. And then I relax onto my belly. Let's come onto our bellies. So coming into a back extension. So Pilates, we call this one a mini swan. So it's just a tiny back extension. Any variation. I float my head up off the mat. I pull my chin in. I try to pull my shoulders back, really plug them into the shoulder joint, the glenohumeral joint. Lightly press away. I'm not putting a lot of weight into my palms. Breathe in, breathe out. I could lift my legs. I could lift one leg. I could float my arms up. I actually like to do these separately at first. So I'm going to keep my legs down and just focus on my upper half. I could reach towards my feet. Imagine you're flying through the air here. Airplane, sometimes I call this one. Shoulders shrugged down, chin in, reaching long with those arms. Breathing. Are you breathing? Pelvis pressing lightly into the mat. And then eventually I take my break. Come all the way back down. Make a little pillow there. A full breath in, breath out. So let's go to that lower half. Let's lift our legs. So I'm going to lightly press the pelvis into the floor. Just alternate here. Just focusing on my backside like bridge. Without rocking my pelvis side to side. Let it come right from the ball and socket joint of the hips. I float one leg off. And I can bend your knee a little bit more. You can actually add a leg curl too, get more hamstrings, glutes. Breathe in. Come on, hamstrings, glutes, backside of our bodies. Breathing in, breathing out. And I lower my legs. And I float back up. Another upper half here, another back bend here. Again, I could lift my arms, float them right off the floor. You can go anywhere if you have room. So I don't really have a lot of room with the stairs right in front of me, but I could reach anywhere with those arms. Neck long, breathing in, breathing out. And I lower all the way back down. And let's go back to that lower half. Pelvis press into the floor, relax your upper half as you focus on the lower body. I'm adding full leg curls here, heel to the butt. point, lower back down. I float one leg up. Heel draws in towards the glutes. Extend out long, lengthen, and I lower back down. Alternate. And you can do the ankle work if you like. Why not? Why not? So what's great about Pilates is that we get to do a lot for the ankles and even the hands, the wrists, which some practices don't focus on. Oh, try not to let that pelvis lift. So just lightly imprint it into the mat while you do your leg lifts or your leg curls. And then I'm going to start to gradually push myself away, all the way back into child's pose. Sink back, hips towards your heels. Come out of your back bend. Take a few big, deep breaths here. And then I come all the way up. I come into a seated forward bend, spine stretched forward. I move around, get on my sit bones or a little bit in front. Legs out wide, pull up on your toes, and just walk down, right? Just kind of like reach, walk down, your legs reach towards your toes. And float the arms off, a nice spine stretch forward. And I like to do this one without a rounded back. I'll let it come from my hips. Then I float the arms all the way back up into a big L, reaching, bringing my arms back. I call these arch backs in my class. So you can bend my knees, press away with those palms and float your breastbone up to the sky as if there's a string there, just pulling you up to the sky. I could lift my hips into almost like a tabletop or a crab position. Let's work though. Could go out with one leg and like a reverse plank. Could lift both legs out long. Reverse plank. I like doing this one with my fingers out. You can do the opposite with your fingers in. Looking at my feet, I could lift a leg, lift the hips. That's good work for your quads. Lift one leg up, hips stay up as much as I can. I lower all the way back down. Remember, any variation could still stick with arch backs where I started. A single leg reverse plank, double leg, or lifting as I'm doing. And then I lower all the way down. And I just fold over naturally over my legs, nice relaxed back position. Big breath in, rise back up, and coming into half roll backs. You just know that there's going to be some of these in my classes. So on my sit bones, I start there, I don't end up there. I lean back, gauge the core, ribs in, arms reaching in front or up, anywhere with your arms. Could add a light rotation, twist from side to side. And I could hold a mini ball, right? I could hold a weight, a dumbbell, a medicine ball. Could float both legs up in sort of that modified teaser, or it's like half boat. And then I scoop through, coming forward, reaching. And preparing for another one. Half roll back, lean back. Scoop lower belly in, float one leg up, both legs up, and I'm straightening here into the full teaser. It's like full high boat pose in yoga. Quads engage, inner thighs, scooping, core on. Come on, hold, reaching up to the sky. Hold. And eventually, all the way back down, I lower my legs, I scoop back in and up. And then I come out, and this time facing you, cross-legged or legs out long. Into that seated position. So I could put a blanket underneath my pelvis. I zip up long and some spinal rotations. So you really get every movement of the spine. That's what I love about Pilates. It's all, you just get total body, all movements of the spine. And keep my arms down if that feels a little better for me. I rotate, move your ribs, turn your ribs. Let your head follow along naturally. So a little bit of a forward fold here, maybe shifting a bit to get into those hips, those glutes that we work quite a bit. And I switch legs, other leg in front. Lean forward. Reach, reach, reach. It should feel good. And we're just winding things down here. So hopefully you enjoy the Pilates, and now the audio matches the video. So technology is not always, right? It's just not always reliable. Roll my shoulders up and around, breathing in, breathing out. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Just reach up, and then exhale to your heart. I hope you enjoyed your Pilates session. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully we can resume our center fit classes, Pilates classes in the fall, or as soon as we get the go ahead. So have fun with this. Great course.